Okay, everybody, welcome to the first installment of Can He Fix It? This is my buddy's Legion laptop. I helped him pick it out. He bought it, I think, about 3 years ago, so it's a few generations old by now. But he's having a really weird issue, one that I've actually never come across before. So we're gonna see if we can get it to, well, basically have the same issue live for us right now. And we're gonna try and diagnose and fix it. That lighting is atrociously bright. Let me just adjust this real quick here. Pull this back a little bit, make it a little better for us. Yeah, that spotlight on there is not great. The new studio lighting, I'm not used to figuring that out yet. It looks like it is trying to endlessly load here. I'll go ahead and turn this way a little bit while we're trying to look at the screen. And then once we actually get into the repair, we'll flip it around and see what happens. That is strange. It is doing absolutely nothing. No fan spinning, nada. He was saying that it's giving him a boot error, saying that it can't find the SSD or something along those lines. I'm hoping that it will do that again for us. We're gonna find out. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess I'll get back to you as soon as the message pops up. Okay, well, there you go. Now you can read it. So our error message, setup confirmation, default boot device missing or boot failed. So, could be corrupted Windows, could be a bad SSD. He did say the computer was getting stupid hot while he was playing some of his newer games. So it's possible something happened to the SSD in that way. I guess let's take off the back cover and see if we can find anything, and then we'll go from there. We're gonna jump right in here. It looks like we're just using a standard Phillips on this. Where did my actual screwdriver go? Well, that's annoying. There it is. Look at that. All right. Again, LTT, if you ever want to send me a precision screwdriver or a ratcheting screwdriver, I do love the transparent color scheme, so, you know, help a local tech reviewer and fix it for his friend out, you know what I mean? This video will potentially be kind of long. I might cut some of this to keep it down to a shorter length, but I'm trying out this new format of just kind of shooting as we go, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm gonna go ahead and get this back panel off, and then we'll get back to it. All right, we got the back panel off. Let's see what we're looking at here. I've never actually looked inside one of these machines. Blimey, what? Wow, they've got a lot of protective coverings over things. It's a little dusty, but really not that bad. There are his, well, there's one of his NVMe's. Oh, he said he had two, but it looks like what he might have been seeing instead is his Wi-Fi card, which should be under there. I don't want to like dive too deep into this and take things off that don't really need to come off. Probably not go in there. What the heck is going on? Okay. Oh, that is it. Itty bitty Phillips bit. And my screwdriver is a little cooked on the sharpness meter. All right, let's take a peek here. So he said he had looked in here and found a second SSD. Oh, you know what? This might be an SSD over here as well. Let's see. That's definitely a populated slot. Come here. Don't really want to lose these. I need my bit magnetizer up here. Okay. Another one. Holy smokes. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that is definitely his Wi-Fi chip. So there is a thermal pad over the SSD, which, let me focus on that there. There we go. I would be surprised if an SSD just like burnt up. It's possible, but I've never had it happen, and I've been running NVMEs for a very, very long time. I'm gonna pull up a chair here, actually. Take a seat, and we'll examine this first SSD. See if we can't notice anything going on with it. Okay. All right, well, I'll give you guys the first look here. By first approximations, it looks just fine. Let me actually take a look at it here. See if I can figure something out. Gen 4x4, it's a nice SSD. Nice NVMe drive. I mean, I can't on the surface see any reason why this drive would be malfunctioning, especially given the fact that there's been a thermal pad on it. So we're gonna leave it out for now. And let's get into this second one over here. See what's going on with it. Oh, I think that was the actual NVMe screw that I just took out. This is more fun to me than doing like, can he flip it videos. Those videos are fun, don't get me wrong. I like, you know, building machines and stuff. And if I was building custom machines for people instead of just like upgrading office PCs to give them a second life, it would be more interesting to me. Okay, so yeah, I did take off the thing again. Another heat shield with another thermal pad already on. Reflected for a second. I was like, did they not take the plastic off that thermal pad? But they did. And same exact thing. We've got another Samsung NVMe SATA 4x4 drive that looks to be in perfect shape. I mean, no visible damage at all of any sort. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on with it then. Under this area, looks like we've got a speaker. I'm not sure what that is actually. I think that's one of his speakers. It's definitely come a little loose here. I'm confused. I think it might honestly be that one of his frickin' SSDs, or his copy of Windows got corrupted on one of those SSDs, and that's just the problem. Because the SSDs look fine, and they clearly have adequate cooling measures on the heat shrouds for them. So, yeah, this cooling system is nice, though. Look at that. Dual pipe per thing. I'm gonna take a wagered guess that this is the RAM under here. I have no reason to open it up, so I'm not going to. Let's try putting one of these SSDs in at a time and giving her a little boot, seeing what happens. I need to find which drive is the corrupted Windows one. I mean, I guess I don't have to. I could just install a fresh copy, but I would like to try and save some of his data and install Windows on the other drive. And I don't think these are labeled on the board as to which one is NVMe 1. They are not. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna slap this shroud back on, and then I will get back to the video as soon as I have the computer ready to turn on. All right, we're gonna go ahead and boot it up here, and immediately we get the default boot device missing. So in theory, that means this SSD that I have left out right now is the one that is actually running Windows, because that popped up immediately. Unless for some reason it went into sleep mode last time, which I would be very concerned about considering I held the power button. So let's take another peek here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is take that SSD back out, and I'm just gonna put the other SSD back in the same slot. If it's an SSD issue, then we should get similar results. Or if it's a Windows issue. Basically, I'm just trying to run through the gamut of what could be going on here. Is it an SSD slot issue? Is it an SSD issue? Is it a Windows issue? There's a million things that it could be. Ultimately, I'm probably just gonna have to flash a new copy of Windows and then test the drives that way. But let's see what happens here when we go to power it on. Okay. See if we get that same error immediately. Okay, well, nothing is happening immediately, which is kind of a problem. I want to try and get into the BIOS, I guess, and see what's going on there. Maybe it's a boot drive issue, but oh, I don't know. Okay, let's shut her back off and see what happens. So, we got no response from that. Let's try this SSD in the other slot and see if I can get the same error to populate for it immediately. In which case, I think this is probably the SSD that doesn't have Windows on it. All right, so yeah, we're getting the same error. So what I think is that this SSD does not have the copy of Windows on it. Let's turn that back off. So yeah, what I think is that this SSD does not have Windows on it. The other one does, and for some reason it's not able to get a hold of that Windows start file or boot file, essentially. So that probably means it's just a corrupted version of Windows, which is good because we can hopefully just put a new copy of Windows on there, get it to boot, and then he can go on, move his other files around. I do keep a copy of Windows 11 on me, and I know for a fact that's what he was running on this machine. So let's do that. I'm gonna, I guess, get everything kind of put back the way it was, and then we'll try and flash a new copy of Windows. All right, I got the SSDs back in. I have my Windows 11 boot drive plugged in as well, so we're gonna see if it tries to default to that or if it's gonna throw a fit again, in which case I will have to figure out how the heck I get the boot, or the BIOS to boot up, because it does not want to do that by default. Like, it's giving me no nothing, like literally nothing. So yeah, still nothing. This is really annoying. Hopefully we can get this fixed for him though. This is a nice Mac, or a nice laptop, and it really would be a shame if it had a massive issue, especially given the price of parts these days. Holy smokes. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I just don't know. Well, I'm not gonna waste more time. I'll start the video up again once something changes. All right, well, my patience and button mashing has finally paid off. We are in the BIOS, which is amazing. Oh man, the mouse works. Thank God it's a laptop. 12700H, 3070 Ti. Yeah, this thing is kind of stacked. Arrows, select something. Okay, enters F2 for BIOS, F12 for boot device. Okay, so I need to be pressing F12. Ah, here we go. Okay. NVMe SSD. So it does see one of the SSDs in here for certain. Fast boot's disabled. That's fine. USB boot. We need that enabled. PXE boot to LAN. No, that's fine. Let's save and exit and see if we can at least get Windows 11 to try and boot here. Hopefully it won't take another 5 minutes of it running through continuous tests trying to get it to freaking boot off the SSD. It'd be really nice if it just worked first try, you know? Only time will tell though. What I'm mostly interested in is, can I find both SSDs in the partition manager when I go to install a fresh copy? And if so, can I locate the one that has the Windows copy on it currently so I can install it on the other SSD? That way, hopefully he can just go back and clean up his files, move things around, he'll have a fresh start, so to speak. I might also be able to repair Windows. That's an option. We'll kind of see what options. I know I have the option to repair Windows, and I'm going to try that first, but if not, I will go for a fresh boot, and we'll kind of have to go from there. Well, for the first time, we have the Legion logo and a Windows spinny wheel, so hopefully that means something good is happening. Here we go. All right, looks like we're going for a Windows install. So let's see what we can do here. Mouse is not working. Okay, that's fine. Yep, that's fine. We're gonna actually go for a repair here. Can I get it to go repair my PC? Did it not do a repair? No, hold on a minute. I am confused. Oh, what the crap? Okay. That little blue Lenovo icon usually shows up when it's running a copy of Windows. Don't know now. I am Confucian. And we're back to a Legion screen, which is not inherently a bad thing. Maybe? Okay, back to our spinning wheel. Okay, well, let's try this again. Prepare my PC. There we go. Okay, that's more along the lines of what I was hoping to find. Fix problems that keep Windows from loading. No, restore. We might have to do a system image recovery or a system restore, but let's try a startup repair first. Startup couldn't repair your PC. Okay. System restore. Okay. Recovery image. Windows cannot find a system image. Okay, so there you go. That's a massive problem. And that means either A, Windows is completely cooked, or B, the SSD died. Which sucks either way. So I think the best thing to do here is going to be to just flash a new copy of Windows and see if we can read both drives, because if not, one of those drives is cooked, which really sucks. Yeah, that's no bueno. So, yep, I'm gonna get back to you once we got the new installation working. Okie dokie. Let's see if I can get some focus on that screen. There we go. So, as you can see there, one of the biggest problems is, hey, that second SSD that has Windows on it, it does not show up. Before we just install Windows on the current SSD that is showing up, we're gonna go ahead and try and see if we can even find that second SSD. I need to see if I can remember the disk part commands here. I think list disk. List. Okay, yeah, so list disk with a space. Okay, so that second disk does not show up at all. Maybe we'll be able to get it to show up in Partition Manager once we're in Windows, but for the time being, it does not. Looks like he hasn't even touched this other terabyte SSD, so on the plus side, it's gonna be a fresh copy of Windows. On the shystier side, he might lose some of his data or all of his data. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed, and we're gonna go from there again. Alrighty, well, we just finished the percentage counter for the Windows install. Here we go, look at that. Stunning Windows 11. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try and do this without being connected to the internet because I don't want to be. 00BE or OBE / bypass NRO. Oh my gosh. Cortana, be quiet. Nobody likes you. Oh, I have a mouse. Shut up. Shut up, Cortana. I can't. I literally cannot turn her off. Hold on. Ah, disgusting. All right, let's do this again. / bypass NRO. All right, let's get it to restart here real quick. Come on. Oh, this video's gone on so long. Holy smokes. Some of this is definitely gonna get cut, but that's okay. All right, little Lenovo flash again. We got our Legion. Let's get this install rocking and rolling. And then we're gonna see if we can salvage the SSD or any data off of it. I'm not hopeful, if I'm being perfectly honest. I have never had an SSD do this, and maybe I'm just super lucky to never have had an SSD do this. But yeah, does not bode well in my opinion. That's fine, we're gonna skip that. I don't have internet. Oh, that's strange, is his, can I go back a page? I can't go back a page. We'll call him Kupo. Okay, this is annoying, and not the first time I've done this today, since I shot the second episode of Can He Flip It today as well. And I had to install Windows 11 on 2 PCs for that one, wouldn't you know? Okay, just a moment. Okay, password is Kupo PC, capital K, capital P, capital C, just in case I forget, which is entirely possible. The benefit of doing Windows 11 without internet is that it's not going to try and launch into a bunch of Windows updates out the gate as soon as we get into Windows, which is preferable. I really do not want to have to deal with that. So let's see what happens. Again, not gonna waste any time. I'll get back to you as soon as Windows is actually launching. We're back and we're in. I'm gonna go ahead and, obviously we got Windows 11 here, so that's great. Let's check File Explorer. I've got an off-screen keyboard here so that I don't put my hand in front of the screen for you. So, yeah, that's my Windows 11 boot device, and that is our current SSD. So that's not great. Let's go ahead and crack open disk partitioner here and see if we got anything. No, we do not. So, unfortunately, that means the other SSD no longer shows up. Now, I did notice something mildly concerning while we had Windows installing, and that was that once it went into the network connectivity, it was not showing any Wi-Fi options, which usually it populates all the Wi-Fi options for this condo association like immediately. And we don't have Wi-Fi here either. So I actually think this might not be a bad SSD inherently, but a bad motherboard. Because as we will, I'm gonna flip the PC back over and we'll talk about this, but that Wi-Fi chip is right next to that NVMe drive. And it would really suck, but not necessarily surprise me if the motherboard got damaged and it killed both of those ports, which really sucks. So let's flip it back over, take a look at the positioning on that. We're gonna try and take out that SSD and just confirm that it does boot from the other side. And we're gonna go from there. So what I'm hoping will happen here is that I'm going to take this off, unplug this SSD, turn it back on, and I hope that it boots straight into Windows, meaning that it is booting off the other SSD, which should be the case anyways. I don't know why I did that screw first. I am not thinking clearly. Get out of there. Come on. Okay, well, we will get that screw out of there in a minute. Okay, not that, I guess. Come on. Can't actually see what I'm screwing from this angle. Trying to not be in front of the camera. Okay. What's possible as well is that this SSD is still good. So I will try it in a different machine. And then, come on, get out of there. Oh, you little twat. There it is. Lovely. Okay, so this is our Wi-Fi card here, and Wi-Fi was not showing up, which is unfortunate. I don't really have the tools to diagnose the board being bad, but given the fact that the Wi-Fi card and the SSD are both not responding, I'm going to assume there's damage somewhere within here on the board. Could be a capacitor or something, or a trace got broken. I don't really know how any of those things would happen, since I don't think he's ever taken the back off before this problem started. So yeah, it might just be a faulty board, in which case I kind of doubt that he has a warranty. And that sucks, but I think he could still use the computer till it dies, which I, again, unfortunately think is highly likely that the computer will not last too much longer if the motherboard is failing. So let's go ahead and pan up here, get us a focus on that screen. That's a little too bright. Hold on a second. Once it starts to load, we should see something. Come on, big money, big money, big money. Give us a Windows boot. I'm gonna be even more confused if it's booting off of the SSD we just took out. This is insane. So the Wi-Fi card is gonna fail randomly and an SSD on the other side? That just doesn't seem normal. What the heck is going on here? Okay. All right, let's do this again, I guess. Come on back down. So we're going to assume this SSD is in fact working, which is good. Well, and by this SSD specifically, I mean, you too. Goodness gracious, these little screws, yeah, I'll tell you what. This port specifically. Okay. I need to see what I'm doing. Let's take this heat shield off on this side. This is a very well constructed computer, though, I will say. Credit where credit's due, there it is. I have always liked Lenovo machines. I mean, I've owned a number of them, and they've always been good machines, in my opinion. In fact, I mean, I was using base model garbage Lenovo machines in college, and well before then. Never had any real issues. All right, let's try this again. Wi-Fi card is still out. Let's see what happens here. Pan up again, and give us something like a Windows boot, please. Okay, so there we go. We'll boot and shut it down. Obviously, Windows does work. What sucks is that his other NVMe port does not work. So, I'm trying to think of what the best thing to do here is gonna be. I think I'm gonna try and boot into, go over here, shut down. Okay, so I'm gonna plug the other SSD into this other slot, which I'm pretty sure we already tried, and I'm gonna see if anything happens when I have a Windows install boot disk in there as well. So I'm gonna plug that USB back in and see if I can get it to try and populate a boot on the other SSD in that working slot. So we know this slot, oh, hold on, I gotta pan down again. Crazy. We know this slot works for sure. We know this slot does not work. What I don't know is that does the SSD out of this slot not work at all, or does it work in this slot over here? So we know we have a Windows copy on this guy. I've got the USB boot device back in there. Let's take that out. Take this guy. Plug it in here. There we go. Secure it down to the board so that it doesn't go loosey-goosey. Beautiful. All right. I don't know why my freaking bits do that. That's so annoying. I'm gonna leave the Wi-Fi card out for now. I just don't care. And I'm gonna see if I can get Windows to boot back onto this other drive, and then I'll get back with you. So, it obviously did not boot into anything, which kind of makes me think that Windows is in fact cooked. Or not Windows, but that this drive is cooked. But we're gonna just go through the install process and see if we can even find a boot drive at all. Goodness gracious, that is dark. I apologize. It's the only way for you to get to see what I'm seeing on screen. Yes, I get it. Here we go. Yep, okay. So unfortunately, the disk is dead. That really sucks. This is a 64 gig flash drive I have in here. Okay, well that answers a lot of questions and leaves more questions, so here we go. All right, well, that's kind of conclusive. We do know for a fact that this port works. Unfortunately, this SSD is done. It's cooked. But we do have one working SSD with a copy of Windows on it. So what sucks is that he has, well, temporarily lost all his data. I do have some tools that I will try to use in order to recover the data off this other SSD, but it doesn't look good, unfortunately. Also, his Wi-Fi card is cooked as well, or at least the slot is. It's possible that I might have to just flash the Wi-Fi system, like in Windows, like it's just not reading for some strange reason. I have had that happen in the past. It's not super common, but I have had it happen. So what I'm gonna do now is just kind of put all the drives back together, see if I can get that Wi-Fi card working within Windows. And then from there we will, well, we'll put the back on and yeah, give him an update on what's going on. So that's kind of where we're at. I'll see you in Windows. Okay, so we're back in Windows. Hilariously enough, I tried to pull out my my little flash drive, and it broke in half. And so half of my flash drive is now stuck in his computer as well. This just gets better and better. The network controller is showing up, but it is not working. So we're gonna try uninstalling it and seeing if we can restart and get it to show back up. We got a lot of other things that are showing up as unknown devices too, but I'm not particularly worried about any of those. Obviously, Windows is up and running again, and he does have a LAN port on the back, so he has options. Let's go ahead and restart real quick though, and we're gonna see if we can get that device to show back up. Unfortunately, it looks like, I mean, obviously he's lost a 1 terabyte drive. That sucks. He's potentially lost all his data. That sucks. He might have also lost his Wi-Fi card. That really sucks. If that's the case, having two M.2 ports on opposite ends of the motherboard fail kind of makes me think that the motherboard's bad, which is a massive problem. Unfortunately, there's not really anything you can do about that because this computer is well out of warranty, being that it's 2.5 or 3 years old at this point, whatever it is. So, unfortunately, we might just be kind of cooked, chat. We might be kind of cooked. Obviously, it's not going to show up there. Obviously. Let's go to device manager. See if anything's changed here. Okay, network controller does show back up, but it's having issues. So what I need to do is plug it into my internet and see if I can get it to work through LAN for an update. So we're gonna do that, see if we can fix the Wi-Fi card, we'll button her all back up, and that will be the end of this video. So in a random stroke of genius, I'm just kidding. In a random stroke of, I don't know what I was thinking, I swapped the NVMe over to the left side, and it does in fact still work there. So the good news is this NVMe port or the other NVMe port is not actually cooked. Neither of them are cooked. Both the NVMe ports work just fine, which makes me think that maybe the motherboard is not actually dying. In which case the Wi-Fi chip might be dead on its own, just like the SSD, but it could also just be a glitch. So maybe the motherboard is just fine. I don't know. We're gonna try and diagnose the Wi-Fi chip, see if we can get it working at all, if I can get any form of networking working, and at that point, I'll get back to you with some new stuff. But for now, I'm just gonna tidy this up. My phone is about to die, which I'm recording on, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in, and we will go from there. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and I have gotten the Wi-Fi up and running. It was just a driver issue. I did talk to the owner. I updated him on the status of his SSD. I am almost 100% positive that there's nothing wrong with the motherboard after all, because, well, number one, we fixed the Wi-Fi, and number two, the SSD, the second SSD works in both slots. So, unfortunately, that means his SSD died. I don't really know how that happens. I've never had that happen to one of mine. I do know that he is a very hardcore gamer. I mean, he puts in like 8 hours a day, every day, running modded Minecraft and other things, and he's told me himself that the computer gets stupid hot. So, that's possibly what it was. I am gonna try and restore some of his data, transfer it back over. I'm not super hopeful since the SSD didn't populate at all in Windows or disk partition, none of it. So unfortunately, that's kind of where that stands for the SSD. But the good thing is we got the system up and running again. There's a fresh copy of Windows. It does work with the internet, and I'm hoping these Windows updates will kind of clean up the rest of the driver issues that it's having, and he can go from there. So yeah, that's where this video is going to end. You didn't see my face at all, but I am still very grateful for your patronage. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really enjoyed making this video, and there will be more content like this 100% coming at you. So yeah, till next time, guys, I'll see you later.